IDX TV back in the house here at RLA, right here in Las Vegas. I have the one, the only Neo Kong here, as a matter of fact, from NG Terminal. How's it going, Neo?
Very nice meeting you today.
Nice meeting you too.
Thanks for inviting me for the interview. It's my pleasure and a great time, spending for the IRA event.
I have to say, your name is one of the coolest names I've heard at the show.
You're not the first one asking me, and I believe you won't be the last.
Probably won't be the last.
It was an interesting name, but I picked it up a couple years ago. I mean, as a background, I'm a Chinese. We don't really have an English name, but to make it more international standard, so.
You went to the top of the name list. You went all the way to the top.
Actually, I picked that for a reason. Neo also means new, so I always, intend to, for the new developments, inventions and innovations. I think that's why I pick up the name.
You're bringing a lot of new thought to our business. Let's talk a little bit about it. NG Terminal, what are you guys about? What do you do?
NG Terminal is a 3PL next to London Heathrow Airport. It's one of the busiest airports in the world. We operate a full customs bonded warehouse, and recently we got authorized for the excess goods handling, such as liquor, tobacco, and cigarettes materials.
Wow.
And I am one of the co-founders of NG Terminal, and I'm currently serving as a MD, Managing Director.
Sounds like a very busy days you have.
Well, it is challenging, but being busy, I guess, is also a sign that we are aiming for some, growth and going to the new direction.
I see that despite how busy you are, you've definitely found time to have a great presence here at RLA. How important is RLA to you?
I mean, RLA, I've been hearing this RLA for a long time. Reverse logistics is nothing strange to me. It's part of the essential part of it's essential part for the whole supply chain. I mean, been hearing for a few years, I decided to come in here, physically experience it, and to see the pioneers and market leaders. We have been involved into return logistics on some perspective, but I want to see what is the trend and what is the future about this.
Very nice. And it seems like you're actually maybe contributing to some of the future with some of your new ideas and so forth. Talk to me a little bit about NG Terminal strategy with international returns, cross-border returns. That's not something that's always easy to do.
Yes, you're absolutely right. When it comes to cross-border returns, it's a layer beyond the domestic returns. So domestic returns, I've seen many tax companies today, many sort of automation suppliers, smart labeling, they're all brilliant. But there's just one element, how can you tackle the customs issues and how to get the tax refunded is something being missed. So I hope after this event, we're going to have more sort of noise or more sort of voices coming to us about this area, because I don't want that part to be missed, because there is a demand for that.
Yeah, money a lot of talk at this conference in general about money left on the table.
Correct,
right?
Correct. I mean, yes, we're focusing on the waste recycles and to try to be sustainable. But of course, the waste of a tax is a big burden to big cross-border companies.
You know what else is a burden is, let me ask you about this, compliance, regulation, particularly when you're dealing with perhaps packages, mailing is very sensitive, especially if you're dealing with international issues. Talk to me a little bit about how do you stay current with regulation compliance?
It is indeed a big challenge. It has been in the market for many years, and it will stay for long term, because when it comes to tax returns, you have to be transparent and to be able to be audited to prove this tax you reclaim are eligible. So thanks to our IT, we built all the system together. We can record all the connections of inbound shipments and outbound shipments. So we can prove to the local authority it's full transparency and full trust. So the application of a tax refund will be smooth.
Trust is important in our business,
Exactly.
Very important. Now, let me ask you this. What is the challenge? Cross-border logistics, not easy. I know you already talked a little bit about how the returns can be challenging. What about just in general, logistics in general,
For the last 2 years, I think everyone involved in the logistics industry would see a spike, the uptrend, and also a downtrend with a speed that no one perhaps haven't seen for a long time. So in the last year until now, we would see the global economy is shrinking. Recession is pretty much the fact. We are in heading towards a recession, and some of the part of the world is already in the recession. So I think as a business solution provider, if we can bring a solution for cost saving, sustainable saving, rather than just a simple price cut, would prove a value to a business and to our customers. Because if you're just simply reducing the cost, or simply reducing the pricing, it's not an organic way to grow. You just have to be smart, automate your operations, reduce the labor handling costs and time in order to save that and rebuild into your future solutions. So that is the key.
Excellent. Now, how does the sustainability piece fit in? Now, I would think in your condition, this is just from my perspective, I would think you almost wouldn't have that much control because you accept what you get and you have to let go of what you have. But is there in there room for you to choose methods that are more sustainable in your business?
Of course. As a gateway handler, we call it ourselves, there are hundreds of companies like us. We would be processing a lot of inbound shipments. And because we're providing a delivery and last mile services, by default, certain goods will be returned to us. And most of them could be deemed as unwanted goods. But the way how we process them is come to the actual goods holders like us. So in the past, we would say, okay, well, because customers are not paying our bills, any handling costs on this would be a burden to us. But now when we look at the thing from the ethical way, if you just do a little bit more, for example, go to a warehouse and tell the people when you sort out the unwanted goods, you can just simply do a little bit more to sort out the recyclable goods or non-recyclable goods, because the non-recyclable ones will go to landfill. It's going to be waste, pollution to the environment. It's just a little bit more can actually save them. Recycled bottles, cans, they can be going back to reproduction. Just a tiny bit of attitudes towards how you run our warehouses can change a lot of things. So that's one simple part, I would say.
That's excellent. I really appreciate everything you're saying. I know people at home also appreciate all the different kind of, your own key perspective. Have you gone through this industry in many different ways? Mm-hmm. What do you say to someone out there that's watching right now that hasn't come to RLA in person? Maybe watches some of these segments and maybe hopefully been keeping up as we've been doing these interviews and segments around. What do you say to them about coming here?
I think for people or companies like us, 3PL, who perhaps in the past came from a traditional forwarding, freight forwarders, I would like to send a voice that be creative and be encouraged to step out the zone of fear of loss or fear of recession. Because this is the time when the crisis is there, it's time for you to look out of the box, to look at something more unique and new to build on your business. Do not just fear of reducing your pricing to save the customers, but create something new to the industry.
That's solid. That's some of the best advice we've heard this whole conference. I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Neo,
Thank you.
Thanks
very
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you to all of you watching IDX TV. We'll see you guys later from Las Vegas. Cheers.